Everyone, I'm Charlie Morton, and I'm the writer and director on Theseus, which is a film that myself and a bunch of other students at Theseus University are currently working on. We're in pre-production, and here we have all of the gear that we've currently kind of acquired for the film. Because, like I've said in the promotional stuff, follows 4 Navy SEALs who board a battleship to figure out where the crew went. It's like a science fiction piece, but it's tactical kind of a thing. So you have all the equipment. The plate carriers were supplied by Armed Republic. They sent us all the belt setups. There's some more over there in a box that I haven't put together yet. But all the plate carrier builds, all supplied by Armed Republic. So I'll link their page in the description, but they sent more patches than I know what to do with. But yeah, huge shout out to Armed Republic for sending all the plate carriers. But moving on, just some of the other stuff that we've done to kind of get ready. We did visit the battleship. We're filming on the USS New Jersey, and down in Camden, New Jersey. It's right across the river from Philadelphia, but so essentially just Philadelphia. But we visited the ship. They took us through. We took pictures, notes of where we're going to be shooting, and right now the only thing that we're kind of waiting on to start filming is a few more casting decisions, but also the fundraiser for the USS New Jersey. Now, they had not asked for it, but they had said generally they ask for about $10,000 from film production, but I did make it clear we're a college film crew. We'll do our best, but we're working on it, because if we can't secure the props and we raise the money for the ship and we still have no props, then it's worth nothing because we can't film. So super lucky that we were able to have the carriers sent to us by Armed Republic. We have the helmets that we got. Just look here, just off of Evike. The stuff that Evike sent isn't here yet, but they did also sponsor Theseus. But just some bump helmets from Evike. And taking a look over here, we have some of the airsoft that we're going to be using. This is the M4 that I just finished up doing the paint job for this morning. But this is what one of the SEALs will be carrying, and it was just like I was trying to think of something unique that we could do, in particular for the paint jobs. And what I came up with was a dark brown base with like a battleship gray over top, and then using plants and vegetation to kind of leave a pattern on it. And then this morning I went through with nail polish remover and kind of roughed it up a little bit so it looks like it's been used, you know, like where your hands would be placed on the rifle, parts that are just poking out, sticking out, that get worn down. But that's the paint job for the M4. It's a suppressor I need to figure out how to attach without breaking the muzzle brake off. This is the MP7 that another SEAL is going to be using. I had it just kind of lying around. I have another one too. I didn't paint it. I'm only going to be using one. But I did some digging. I was like, do SEALs use MP7s? Does anybody use an MP7? Just because I wanted to use the resources we already had. And found out that on Neptune Spear, when they got Bin Laden, they used MP7s. Not all of them, but a few did. So it's good enough for me. It's accurate enough. Moving on, I have a airgun Glock 17 that we just got. It was given to me for Christmas. So that was all I asked for Christmas, was just props. So it's great. But you know, gas blowback. I need to figure out how to not make the slide lock back after every shot, because obviously we can't be shooting real BBs. But just takes a single CO2 cartridge, and yeah, one of the characters will be using this as a sidearm during a fight scene. But a great piece of equipment. All of these are AEGs and spring airsoft. So this is the only one that's not airsoft and is actually gas blowback, which I was originally going to try and see if I could get 4 gas blowback rifles for the film, but budget restrictions and just constraints, and it's a lot of money to spend because they were like $350 each, and I could put that elsewhere. Namely, a composer, finding a composer, working with a few people, trying to see who really is the best fit. But yes, so this is our one gas blowback that we have. None of these are really functional. The M4 doesn't work. The battery's shot. I don't even have a battery for the MP7. And then the M14, this is I think it's supposed to be replicating a Springfield Armory M1A, like SOCOM, but it's just a, Springer. It doesn't do much else than that. I don't even have a mag for it, but I brought it out just because I was figuring maybe we'll use it for something, because I looked on Evike and mags are only $9, so I might just get one, paint it, put an optic on it, and call it a day. It might look alright, but I'll be, for the other weapons, I'll be borrowing from a friend of mine who's lending me 2 airsoft guns that we'll then use for the other SEALs. But getting kind of down closer here, one thing I really wanted to emphasize was kind of the individuality of each character. So here we have the plate carrier for our commander. His name is Lieutenant Grant. They're in the Navy, so lieutenant's in 03 and then 01. And so he's the commander of the SEAL team. Typically you would have not 4 SEALs boarding a ship or something, you would have like 30 of them or something like that. You would have a platoon, but obviously we don't have the money for it. We're working with what we have. So 4 was what we went with. There's 4 in Lone Survivor, so whatever. Not saying that we're trying to make Lone Survivor, but that's what we're doing. So this one is Lieutenant Grant's plate carrier right here, the American flag and the St. Benedict medal. The helmet that I also picked up earlier with the Jerusalem cross patches, that's also his. Watch the film and you'll be able to see why that's important. But moving on, I believe this is one of the names are slipping my mind, but this is Caldwell. So he's a chief, and one detail I was doing was I made like a board and a slideshow that had a bunch of reference pictures of various operators from Global War on Terror, Iraq, Somalia, like just various engagements that SOCOM has been involved in. And one thing that I did see a few times was American flags mounted on the back of plate carriers. I thought that was kind of a neat detail that I wanted to include, and I looked it up, and there were, for like $20, you could get wire systems to mount the flag, and I wasn't gonna pay, that was $20 that I didn't have to spend on a piece of 550 cord, so I just used 550 cord I already had, looped it through the MOLLE backing on the plate carriers because of the loops here, and it worked. So moving on, as you saw here, we have the kind of Jolly Roger patch on there. I wanted it to be kind of, the whole film is going to kind of feel like, not feel like, but in terms of the SEALs, Gen Z going to war, because now my age is grown up. I have buddies who are enlisting. The actors are all going to be ROTC kids to save money on the uniforms and the boots. But this is like our generation going to war. So I wanted this kind of like, you have obviously the diver flag here with the Jolly Roger on it, and then here you just have the normal Coyote pirate flag. But just this idea of like, they're all just kind of like friends going and doing this thing, or at least like have the sense of humor that I did in my infinite wisdom to do that, whatever. But we'll be planning a day soon enough to come here, and we'll be doing, this is before we film the actual project, we'll do a day where we have all the actors come here, get fitted for their gear, they'll try it on, they'll put their stuff on, and reconfigure like their pouches or their holsters or whatever it may be so that it actually fits their preference. It fits around them where they can reach. If they're left-handed, that would completely change how that goes. But we'll have them do that. We'll go through just general like firearm safety, running through like how to use safely the weapons that we'll have on set, but also to accurately replicate what trained Navy SEALs would look like, even though they're not Navy SEAls. So that's one thing that's going to be hugely important. And USS New Jersey was super generous to let us be able to film on board. We still have to make the donation to the ship, but they're still letting us do it. And from the conversations that we had with some of the staff, we may be filming while the museum is active, like guests are coming through. The ship is big enough, so it's like we were touring through it and we hardly saw any people, and there was like 2 entire school buses full of people going through the entire ship. So we're not that concerned. They said, this isn't like confirmed, that the staff member who took us around just kind of suggested, it was like, yeah, you should be okay, just as long as you don't have your actors point weapons at anybody. But moving on, there's one thing I did want to mention, just while we're in this room, is that there was one effect that I'm really excited to do, and it was the actual insertion of the seals onto the ship. Now, we didn't have, there was 2 options for what was going to happen. It was either going to be a swick boat, comes up alongside the ship, and they throw a ladder over the side, and the seals climb up the side. We don't have a boat to do that, and doing that kind of thing at night with just like 18-year-old actors is not a good idea, especially when we have no insurance, no safety, no nothing. So we couldn't do that or even try to fake it with them hanging off the side. But the other option was they fast rope out of a Black Hawk, which sounds, again, we don't have a Black Hawk, but when we kind of sat down and talked over it, me and some of my producers and some of my friends, we realized that was the more feasible option. That was the more realistic thing we could do. So we came up with for the idea, and you'll see this in the finished product. I don't want to spoil too much, but they have to get onto the ship somehow, and it's like the first shot of the film. So you'll see it anyway. If it works. If it doesn't, it'll just get cut, and this is just you hearing about it. But essentially, well, not getting up there yet first. What we were going to do was, at DeSales University, they have the rental, but it's not really rentals because it's free because you pay tuition, but they call it the cage, where you can check out cameras, tripods, equipment, sound equipment, things like that. And you can also check out a drone, which has, I think it's like a 6K camera on or something ridiculous. We're shooting on a Sony FX3 for the rest of the film in 4K, so it'll be 4K, we don't need to shoot in 6K. But what we were going to do was, we talked to the ship about this too, we need to fill out some paperwork to fly the drone, but we were going to fly the drone up to where we were going to position the helicopter. It's not there's no helicopter, but the view from inside the helicopter. And we were going to kind of move the camera up and down slowly on like a 90-degree axis looking at the ship. So then we could pick a single frame to be the background. And then what I was going to do was I was going to lay out a green screen blanket on the floor here. And it was going to be down here. I was going to mount kind of like a ring onto the top of the wood there. And this was going to be our helicopter doorway, if you want to call it that. We would film it at night and just have kind of white lights down here illuminating the ground, so it's dark up here, and then as they rope onto the ship, that's where they are. But we would have the actors actually sliding down a rope onto the deck of the ship, and then the green screen wouldn't do much. It would mostly help with like the edges and getting like the small details around the plate carriers and things like that. I would still have to do some roto work and cut out all the actors, probably frame by frame, and it'll probably take longer to do that one shot than the rest of the film. But I did think it would be worth it, and we're gonna try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Obviously, I'm gonna be the first one to try the rope so that we don't die doing it, but we'll see how it goes. If it works, then I think it'll be awesome. I think it boosts the quality of the film. But yeah, that's just how the intro would be, is landing on the helicopter, have some red headlamps up in there. I don't know if it's actually red inside a Black Hawk at night. Never been inside one myself, but you know, little details. The people watching it for the most part won't have been in a Black Hawk, and as much as authenticity is important, and we've been doing our best with all of this to keep it authentic, we're still going to take creative liberties, because at the end of the day, we want to make something that's fun and enjoyable to kind of experience, because it's a science fiction horror film with Navy SEALs and cool props and stuff. And at the end of the day, we're just going to focus on not only just making a good film, but having fun with it. And, we're filming on a battleship with like Navy SEALs. That would be cool. But in summary, this is kind of where we're at with pre-production. We've talked to composers, we've talked to producers, sponsors, whole bunch of people to really bring this all together. And it's snowballed. It's really snowballed. I came up with the first idea for it over Thanksgiving, and right now it's just before New Year's of 2024, so just about a month. And all of this has happened already. We already have the gear. We already have things like that. There's a few more things coming. Like I said, Evike sent some things. We're running a fundraiser. I haven't even mentioned the fundraiser yet. With some of the money from the fundraiser, I got headsets for the SEALs, which I was able to find cheaper options than some of the other, like the first things that I was looking at, which is great because we don't need it to work. We just need it to be there. So that's kind of what we're realizing, is that the non-functioning stuff, as long as it looks good, it doesn't need to function, because I don't need an M4 that shoots BBs if we're not going to shoot BBs, and it's just going to be this. And some of the SEALs don't even fire their weapons at all. So if it's just, they're just holding it, it's great, it works. The barrel was a little bit broken, but I was able to hot glue it, and it looked a little weird, and then I painted it, and it's fine. So like once I painted over it, you can't even tell there's some like clumps there. And I'm gonna have to carve out a little bit here so that I can put a forward grip back on there. But otherwise, with the fundraiser, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit. With the fundraiser, we're at about $1,500 right now. The goal was $5,000, and we're at $1,500 now. So huge thank you to everyone who donated. Everything counted. Everything counts. It's all going towards something that's going to be worth watching in the end, hopefully. It's something that, if it wasn't what you wanted, it was something new that was still entertaining. And I've talked to a lot of people about this, and we're doing something cool here. I really think this is going to be something worth going to see. But again, thank you to everyone who donated to the fundraiser. It means a ton. Everything helps. We're thinking of trying to coordinate an event at Theseus University for local business leaders in the Lehigh Valley who would be interested in donating to the film. And I talked to one of my producers, and right now the seniors at Theseus University are doing there are capstone projects. There's 3 films that are being made. And he asked their producers if they wanted to kind of be in on this event, because we weren't going to just hold this event just for Theseus and not invite the other seniors who are actually, because I'm a freshman at Theseus, and the senior projects take priority. This isn't for any submission at all. This is just kind of a career booster. This is trying to like get all the crew members off the ground. We're all students. We haven't been on any professional sets yet, and this is really kind of trying to say, this is what we can do. So I wasn't going to try and do an event like that without obviously inviting all the producers. So the idea was, and keep an eye out, I'll probably post things on Instagram about that, but keep an eye out if you're a business leader or you're interested in donating. Definitely check out the fundraiser. I'll link that too. It's also linked on the channel page. If you go into the channel, it says more info right there. But we're definitely going to try and do that, see if we can all raise money for all our projects, because there's some really, really good people at Theseus University. The faculty have been super helpful. The students have been amazing to work with. I've been able to make it onto some junior and senior sets, some upperclassmen sets. We just saw a bunch of their films in the AMC in Center Valley, PA just a few weeks ago, and they were unreal. Just seeing everything that we had done on screen was really cool. There was one project that I was the moonlight for, because it said you have to, the call sheet said we're going to be interior in one of the dorm buildings, and I didn't realize that as a grip. I was expected to sit by the spotlight shining the moon through the window, but whatever, it was a lot of fun. It's so fun to do, and yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy the film.